Hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm a landscape architect and environmentalist. Welcome to part 2 of our series, Great Native Plants for Your South Florida Garden. What we're going to do is just pick up where we last left off with Ken over here. This is part 1. He's their container manager at Native Tree, and he was so gracious to give us some time to go and look at plants. Well, we're going to go and see some more in this part 2 of our series. So, you ready to dig in? Let's grow.
Over here is a Willow Bustic, which is it's a native shade tree. It's loaded with flowers right now, and you see a lot of bee and moth activity on them. And when the fruits are purple when they're ripe, and the birds love them too. It's very fragrant.
Wonderful. Any pests that tend to want to mess around with
For this
Willow
one,
Bustic?
it's somewhat prone to sooty mold because it has, like even the flowers themselves, they fall. See how this is?
Yeah.
So it's the flowers. They have nutrients within them, and it traps. The nutrients get trapped on the surface of the leaf, and then the sooty mold grows.
Right. Right.
So they are somewhat prone to sooty mold because of all the.
But new growth is just vibrant, bright green.
Yeah, in
Vibrant.
landscaping, as long as you don't overwater them and they're subject to good airflow, it's not anything you need to worry about.
Right.
It'll grow through it.
Would you say this is a mature size?
Yeah, this is definitely a mature size. You wouldn't expect to have one that's bigger than this.
Right.
That's up in the 30 foot.
Yeah, it looks like about 30 foot.
Well, that's about
But-
it. All of our. So this isn't like Tennessee where the trees are 90 feet tall.
Sure.
The
Sure.
tallest trees in our forests around here are going to be really no more than 40 feet.
Right.
Down in the Keys, it's more like 35.
Yeah, the only one that I've known of that is not a native that gets enormous down here and somehow managed to handle all these storms we get is the rainbow gum.
Yeah,
The
but they end up
rainbow
falling
eucalyptus.
over too.
Yeah, they get massive and they grow extremely fast. But typical, this is what you would see. All is for oaks are native down here. They can grow much taller. You can see the ones we've done some videos in Coral Gables along Coral Way. They're just beautiful. But
those are managed.
exactly.
Naturally, they would tend to be a sprawling thing.
They try to arch their arms down very low and spreading. But this is great for someone's home because this is just like a medium to large size tree. You could limb up some of the lower branches if you wanted to have some usable space underneath and get rid of that, get away from that hot August sun. But beautiful tree.
Yeah.
This is our silver saw palmetto.
That used to be the predominant plant in the understory around here in this area.
Right. You'd see these growing with pines, slash pines.
Yeah.
Typical.
That's like the layering.
It's just so visually striking.
Native palm is the silver palm right here, and those are extremely slow growing. You would very rarely see one bigger than that.
Yeah, beautiful silver palm.
So the saw palmetto and the silver palm and the sable palm, those would have been found around in this area, very commonly found.
Yeah, it's just so striking looking. How old is this specimen?
These are at least 20 years old.
Yeah. Wow, I've seen only one at a park. So tiny. Probably been there 10 years just sitting there in a mix of
They take 10 years
other pines.
to get going at all.
Saw palmettos here. Now we're coming up to the Crook's Holly. Is that a 65 gallon?
This is a 25-gallon container, Crook's Holly, and as you saw, it's a columnar tree. You can keep it full to the base, or you can trim it up and
Right.
use it as a second-story screening tree.
Right, beautiful.
Without having to ever cut them. And, what the heck is better than no maintenance whatsoever?
Right? That is one of the hallmarks of our channel is I try to design a sustainable garden, and that's putting in resilient plants so you don't necessarily have to hedge and or trim into hedges. I'm digging this burgundy new growth. That is so cool.
Yeah, and the fruits are red. The flowers, they're done flowering. They're little tiny things, but they're quite fragrant when they do flower.
Very nice, Ken.
So it has subtle ornamental features.
Right, right. Awesome. I'm going to do a voiceover here because we had a tractor revving in the background and it was so loud. This is the Bahama strongbark and has these beautiful little white flowers and also has this fun cascading feel to it. Really, really cool native for your South Florida garden. It attracts a ton of butterflies as well as a lot of wildlife. Bahama strongbark. Look at the bee is digging it. Another Florida native, as you said, right? With these
it's a
beautiful
cascading little tree. This is found throughout the whole Caribbean area.
And it is native to South Florida.
Native to South Florida.
It's got this nice weeping characteristic to it.
Yeah, it never gets huge. Like the biggest one you'll ever see around here, of this one, would be like 15 feet tall.
Right.
That's a 65-gallon container.
And wildlife attractor with the berries.
Yeah, birds love them. Like mockingbirds, cardinals, the bees, moths, butterflies. I've seen greater variety of insects on this than any other plant here, really.
Wonderful. Moths? Do you think moths will come to this?
Yeah, moths come, bees, butterflies.
Nice.
Even hummingbirds will dip in.
I love the weeping characteristic. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Bahama strongbark. Beautiful. Okay. Let's see.
Yeah, the flowers can get busier than the coffee shop at the Bustic.
Here we are with a Spanish stopper. Nice size. This one's in the ground.
Popularly used as a screening shrub up to 15 feet maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But some people like them as standards. We have some standards right over here.
Yeah, you could use them as a small tree.
Yeah. And it's like a nice little accent tree.
Yeah. Very nice. Great quality you all have.
This one again has very fragrant flowers that attract the bees and other insects. And
Sure.
Fruits that the birds love.
Yeah.
It's a good nesting tree for birds.
Wonderful. How fast would you say they grow? My experience is that they're more moderate. They're not very
that would
fast.
be a good, what we might consider to be a medium grower.
Uh-huh.
And the mature height is under 20 feet. You don't really want to let them get taller than that because then they get damaged in the wind.
You're right.
So you better to keep them at, I think, in my experience, like 8 to 10 feet is really the maximum height. And then you can have the full to the ground screening and you don't see the people at all on the other side of the
Right, right.
You trim them twice a year, usually is how I would do it when I had them in my yard.
Uh-huh. Nice. Okay.
Then, there's a few Simpson stoppers over here.
Here's some Simpson stoppers that they have in containers. Some 25-gallon containers. There you can see the Simpson stoppers and in bloom. Look at those beautiful blooms. Very pretty.
Yeah, so that's quite a very ornamental, beautiful tree.
Oh yeah. I mean, look at that. It's like, I'm digging it. Look at it. This is just with the white berries forming after the flowering. It's so cool.
Yeah, and it flowers quite a lot during the year.
I always tend to miss it when it's flowering. This is great, but I'm catching it.
Yeah, we're coming on the main time.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things, they flower during the dry season. We're in the dry season now.
Right.
And so then they form their fruits, so they'll drop in the rainy season and then get watered in.
Uh-huh.
And the rainy season begins at the end of May,
Right.
goes through to October.
Right.
So when the fruits are, when they're mature, they're orange, And it's like right around Halloween where you get these little orange pumpkins on there. And so it's, you know, very seasonal.
Nice.
Cute little orange
Yeah.
pumpkins.
Great plant.
So this is very flexible in its use too. It can be kept as a screening shrub, or it can be turned up into a little specimen accent tree, because it has, you can see here, this exfoliating bark.
Oh yeah, it's like the bridal veil will do that, and some other you know, rainbow gum will do that as well. But this is beautiful. Yeah, I've noticed that in bridal veil that they have that exfoliating bark, which creates a really cool, interesting look.
So does YouTube? They have a scratch and sniff application you can download.
You know what you know what? If people are probably gonna start working on it now that we have that. It's like, yeah, you have Sensorama. Yeah.
Unless you plant this yourselves, you're gonna have to take our word for it. It's very fragrant. And
Yeah, I'm going in.
it's not an
Oh,
overly,
yeah. Oh, you all. This is great. It's
not overboard.
no, it's not overpowering. It's yeah, the fragrance.
Energizing fragrance.
Yeah, the fragrance is great. It's subtle, but it's there. Yeah. Oh, my
More rejuvenation power than
Yeah.
coffee.
my favorite flower scent has always been the gardenia, and Lang Lang is pretty close to it. But this is nice. It's subtle, but it's there.
Yeah.
All
This is the
present.
myrtle
Nice.
family. Myrtle family, they tend to have a lot of flowers that are fragrant.
Oh, you know, speaking of myrtles, do you have wax myrtles?
No.
Oh, okay, because wax myrtles, one thing I love about them is rubbing the leaves together,
Yeah.
and you get that nice woody
Well,
scent.
this one actually has that too. They have like a little piney smell to them.
Oh, for sure.
You crush it and rub it.
Yeah, you crush it together. Oh,
It's a lemon
Yeah.
and piney.
yeah, I'm picking up some of that. I'm picking up some of the lemon.
This is an hygienic, like
Yeah, I didn't know that about the-
characteristic. So you can
Wonderful.
like the
Wonderful.
Spanish stopper doesn't really have fragrance, and sometimes people have trouble telling the difference between the two when you say, "What's that?" And you know, you surreptitiously go over and pretend you know what you're doing. That's a Simpson stopper. So you go with that and you don't smell anything. That's the Spanish stopper. And they say, "Wow, you're so knowledgeable."
Spanish stopper multi-trunk. You can see how tall that is as compared to the Simpson stopper in the background, which standards, but they tend to be a little shorter in stature as compared to their cousin, Spanish stopper.
7 gallon.
Yeah, here's green buttonwoods, Florida native. Super tough. Wow, these are just, and these have grown fast. I'm assuming, because every time I put them in the ground, they are not shy about by digging in their roots and getting new growth.
And I would say this is one of the most widely planted trees in the world.
Well, it's I think with what we're dealing with on our coastal areas and the higher with the king tides and the higher water table getting mixed up in the brackish. This one I think would probably be able to handle it a little bit better. This and the silver.
Yeah.
And for me, when I've seen these as tree types, I mean, this can also be formed as a hedge. It's just that you're going to have to keep kind of hitting it back. You can grow it as like you would with some of the other natives as a big screening shrub slash tree, or make a specimen tree and limb it up, because we've seen some of these over in the beach area and pull over, and they form trees. It's almost, to me, it gets like a very large pigeon plum shape. They got almost a columnar, not super wide like an oak. That's but yeah, these are super tough.
Very flexible. Actually, you can customize it to the location.
Yeah. Wow, super healthy, beautiful stock you have here. Yeah, very large green buttonwoods here. This is, what size container is this?
That's a 65.
65. Very nice. So yeah, you can see that these are already forming into tree type, and they can get taller than this. So it's a good medium-sized, drought-tolerant tree for your yard. I almost slipped on the mud. That would have been great as an outtake as I go down. Some more, like Ken was saying, Simpson stopper, 25 gallon, beautiful.
Each one has a unique form, because we grow these more to these
berries.
specimens rather than
Right. Each has their own story to tell.
Yeah, that's how I like to put it exactly. So we grow these red maples.
I know some colleagues and friends have planted these. I see it more of a northern plant. It is native to Florida. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of them, so I'm always like shy. Like maybe someone got that sweet spot of soil in their home. A friend of mine from work, he has a Florida maple in his yard, and but I haven't really specified these over the years. They're very interesting.
So I grew up in New England, and I had to rake the leaves, and this to me, I can't promote this tree, but we sell a lot of them. That big at Sylvia Gordon Nursery. She had a huge one in like.
Is this the Clusia Nana?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, beautiful. This can form a nice lower, hedge than the Clusia gutafera because of they just want to get so much taller.
Yeah, this is a dwarf thing, and it has these interesting roots.
Aerial roots, right?
That they put down, and these
cool.
It'll grow down, and then that'll attach to the ground. If you put it on a rock, it'll anchor itself on the rock.
So cool looking.
And then we can see Mother's Day is coming because that's a sign. See these flowers?
Nice.
They always appear around Mother's Day.
Oh, wonderful.
So I can take a picture of it and send it to dear old Mom.
Nice. Wow.
That's the leather fern.
Right.
Important plant too.
Right. Leather fern, 3 gallon. Nice.
Plants. These are all plants.
Yeah. Here's your wild coffee.
Here our marvelous silver buttonwood.
And silver buttonwood, another Florida native. But nature's amazing. Like, look how this plant decided to go silver. You get the plums that do that, but in the genus, Conocarpus, we have the green that we just went over, and now we have the silver.
Has a higher, and this is generally true, that the more silver the color, the higher the salt tolerance.
Yeah, these things can go right on the beach. Got these clusters here, these little almost light
they have
purple
trichomes that give them that color.
Yeah.
Full of moisture.
Yeah, and the hairs on these are very fuzzy feeling. That's a water conserving trait that the plant adapted over the eons. Incredible. Yeah, this will form a small tree. Seen some in Fort Lauderdale where they fell over and then they just formed, that branch just hit the ground and just came up and formed like this loose growing small tree. But this can form a nice medium-sized tree, in my opinion. It can also, be a medium-sized hedge. If you want to screen something like a huge utility or something, you can get something to get these things going to 8-10 feet.
Like in parking lots and stuff, they use them in extremely hot locations exposed to the western sun, and they do
fine. 2 hands. Ernodia littoralis, great for seaside plantings, but I've seen it planted pretty much through most of Miami-Dade County. Who are most of the folks that are coming to get this plant? Are they doing it for coastal plantings, Ken? Or?
Yeah, sometimes, but also it could be commercial, like roadside median strip things, hot locations that aren't going to get any irrigation.
Right.
And it's easy to manage. They stay low.
Right. You get these long arcing, branching habit. Kind of like Elaeagnus will do that. But you trim them back and it gets full, and it can get very, very tightly grown, knitted together. Kind of like how green island ficus can get real tightly knitted. So can this plant, I've seen. But I think it's beautiful because the colors, the branching that comes out has like this salmon color with a little bit of red at the nodes. No pun intended on the Ernodia. But yeah, really, really nice native. Do you mostly sell them just in 3 gallons?
Yeah, that's our size that we sell.
Okay, now we're going to show you each of these native trees and shrubs individually with written care instructions. And this concludes part 2 of best native plants for your South Florida garden. But spoiler, there are more really good natives for your South Florida garden, and I'm going to be creating more videos on them. I haven't even had a chance to talk to you all about the Dahoon holly, cocoa plum, railroad vine, lysoloma, paradise tree, gumbo, oak trees, oh, and more. So stay tuned to our channel, and I'll be presenting more wonderful native trees for your South Florida garden. If you have any comments, please just leave them in the comment box below, and I'll make sure I get back to you. And until next time, bye. If you found value in this video, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. We post weekly. Thanks.